Strap on your ear goggles, bitches. It's time for Pop Goulash.
Pop Goulash.
I'm Reuben Hood.
I am Dana Kroll.
And this is our first full-length episode.
I can't believe it.
I know.
It's finally happening.
Yeah, we dropped the teaser episode however long ago it was before you're listening to this.
Right.
We're still in the full-on planning phases of getting this thing up off the ground. So, but yeah, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good. A little bit stressful. Work's been crazy, but it's adulting, right?
Well, yeah. And then for me,
you drink still. I quit.
When you have an infant and a toddler, it's the only thing that gets you through sometimes.
I have dogs. It's kind of
I got a dog too.
Similar. Yeah. I mean, but anywho, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we were slated to have our first special guest on our first episode tonight, but things being as they are, we just couldn't make it happen.
It's cool, though.
But they will be here in full force in about a week. So hopefully if this goes up when we're intending for it to go up, the next one will go up with the new guest. So,
and the nice thing is, though, too, we are planning to have other guests in the future. So look forward to that. I think we've got some pretty cool people lined up.
Absolutely. Now, we're if you've listened to the
Pop Your Cherry episode.
Thank you.
Pop Your Cherry episode 0.
We kind of gave a little bit of insight and background, a little bit, not a whole lot. We're just a couple of, and you know what? It's not audiophiles. I was thinking about it. It's driving me nuts all weekend. We are not audiophiles. We're aficionados.
Yes. See, I wondered because, I mean, that's why I said music horror. I knew where you were going with it, but I also...
Yeah. An audiophile is some, just...
You're particular
you have to have the aperture right, and the speakers have to be attuned to the room, and you have to spend a shit ton of money, and I just like music and movies. And
I'm not going to spend $140 fucking dollars on a needle for my record player. Sorry, I bought it from Walmart for like $50.
Yeah, but you know what though? With a good needle and a good set of speakers, you could have a $150 stereo system, and it'll sound like gold when that wax drops.
It's true, but you know what? Right now, I'm just kind of a poor college kid again, trying to get by.
Excuses.
Life goals? I don't know.
Right. But yeah, to get into the heart of it, like, what have you been listening to this week? What's been tickling your ear fancy?
What has been tickling my ear fancy? So I've been going back to old school 90s stuff, man. Like, I started listening to a lot of old school hip hop, like Queen Latifah. Actually, somebody mentioned on our page today too about Technotronic, and that totally brought me back. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, just a lot of old school like hip hop stuff. A lot of Salt and Peppa this week.
Nice.
That was kind of my week. What about you? What were you listening to?
I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm a podcast connoisseur and consumer to the point where I've got gigs and gigs of podcasts that I haven't even gotten to because everything that I listen to is like an hour and a half long,
man,
if not longer. And it's hard for me to get through, but I like to pepper in some music in between. I've been really listening to the Hamilton mixtape.
Nice.
For anybody that's been living under a rock since last year, Hamilton the American Musical. Hamilton and American Musical.
True.
I don't want to be a douche here.
Just go buy tickets. I mean, what are you waiting for, people?
I already saw it.
Yeah, you did,
you
bastard.
Had tickets, and you let them go for school like a nerd.
I am a nerd. I admit that. However...
Oh, you missed it. It was so fucking good.
I know.
So, but basically, it's a musical that's based on the life of Alexander Hamilton. It's absolutely wonderful. If you haven't heard it, go to iTunes or the Google
Spotify too.
Spotify,
right?
I'm sure it's on Pandora, but
it might even be Amazon Prime.
Amazon?
Too?
Nah, I don't know. Amazon Prime's music app kind of sucks. There goes our sponsorship from Amazon Prime.
Damn it!
But even like the Google Play Store, I'm sure has it. I don't know about Google because I don't have an Android device because they suck.
I have Google Play on my Apple, on my Apple device, but I haven't checked. I rarely listen to that.
But anyway, pick it up. It's a hip hop, R&B, jazzy musical from beginning to end. It tells the entire story through prose and rhyme and words, and it's fantastic. So I
still can't get over the gigs of podcasts unlistened to that you have. on your device. I just have to tell you because because of my OCD, it's been sticking in my brain since you said it, and I'm like, no, I get podcasts downloaded and I listen to them right away so I can delete them.
I can't. Like, I wish that I could do that. I just can't. Let me see here. I'm trying to pull it up on my phone.
Catch you some OCD, and then maybe you can do the same thing.
But I just don't have enough hours in the day. That's half the problem. Let's see here. Usage.
We'll just clone you. It's fine.
All right, let's see here. I'm going to try and pull it up. What's all on my managed storage here?
Basically, he's pulling up that he's got a lot of shit on his phone right now that is unlistened to.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how it goes.
Let's see. Where's my podcast app here? This is awesome listening, by the way. Just so you know, I have 5.12 gigs of podcasts unlistened to on my phone right now.
Life goals. So that's going to be like when you go on vacation, you're just going to have to listen to a lot of that stuff.
I'm planning on starting jogging again, so that'll help. Anyway,
nice.
Back to
people don't give a shit about our New Year's resolutions.
No, our life is irrelevant to everybody. So, but the Hamilton mixtape basically is songs that were inspired by the musical, whether it be they've taken samples from the musical and wrote an entire song around them.
Nice.
Or they are covers of the songs that are in the musical.
You mentioned that to me too. I haven't listened yet.
There's one that's Regina Spektor and Ben Folds doing Dear Theodosia.
My husband's eyes, our producer Jake, just lit up when he heard that. I mean,
it's really good, but they cut out Hamilton's verse about his son Philip, which really kind of like
ties it together.
Yeah, like
the rug in the dude's apartment really tied it together.
Really tied the room together, man. But it just there's a yin and yang to that song, and it's about fathers who love their children. And like when I saw the musical on my birthday, like I wept.
Cried. Yep.
I like wept through the second act of that musical. It was wonderful. And my wife is just looking at me like, really? I'm like, yes, dear. I told you. I warned you.
I'm just kidding.
So, but like here, let me pull up the track listing here. I'm not going to go through all of it, but the Roots are on it. Nas does a song on it, which is excellent. Usher does a cover of Wait For It, which all respect to Usher. He's an amazing talent.
Right.
He can't hold a candle to Leslie Odom's rendition of the song. Satisfied is done by Sia with Queen Latifah. It's dope.
Ties into my week.
Yeah. Quiet Uptown with Kelly Clarkson is excellent.
I love her.
That Would Be Enough by Alicia Keys. Her voice is beautiful, but I'm not really sold on her rendition of it. Jill Scott does a cover of Say No to This, but she calls it Say Yes to This.
Nice.
It's excellent.
She's fantastic anyway.
Yeah. John Legend does History Has Its Eyes on You, which is wonderful. Absolutely. Well, I don't know too much about John Legend, but that guy can sing his ass off.
You got to get into some of his stuff. I don't profess to be a fan of Lo. However, he is pretty damn talented.
Yeah. And then the song on this album that I can't recommend enough is called Immigrants, We Get the Job Done. And it's by a bunch of literal immigrant musicians.
That's great.
One of them's called Kanan Snow the Project, Riz MC, and Resident something or another. I can only see so much on my stupid phone. But it's excellent. It's like half in Spanish, and there's a guy from Britain on it, or maybe he's from South Africa. He's got a definite like English influence accent on there. There's two like real excellent taglines in the song. One of them is America's Ghostwriters, the credits only borrowed, talking about how immigrants have really shaped this country.
That's cool.
And the other one was Peter claims he picked the peppers, but he really underpaid Pablo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude, this song is incredible. Absolutely incredible. So if you haven't picked it, or if you haven't heard it, you can get it, in any of those Play stores.
Streaming, yeah.
Streaming
for free.
Go to Target. You can get it at Target. Or if you live in the Chicagoland area, and this is a free plug for Kiss the Sky Records in Batavia. I am definitely plugging the store because I used to work there for 5 years. The owner of the store, Steve Warnfelds, we're planning on having the show at some point in the future. Greatest record store in the western suburbs. Absolutely. I love those guys, and I will plug them for free until Dana tells me we have to start getting money for advertisements. But you could get it there as well. So please do yourself a favor. Go pick up the Hamilton soundtrack and then pick up the Hamilton mixtape. They are both phenomenal.
Nice.
So on our Facebook page today, Dana posted a really fun question. Well, there was two. two fun
The marketing
questions.
girl in me.
Well, one of them was yesterday. It was what is your first concert experience? So Dana, would you prefer?
Blah,
Blah 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 blah. Sorry, Maker's Mark and Reuben are fun.
It's cool. I can translate, stupid.
You don't see it right now, but I'm giving her the one finger salute.
So, okay, my first legit concert experience was Green Day at the Aragon Theater, and it was in '94.
It's not a theater; it's a ballroom.
Ballroom, blow me something. But yeah, the Aragon in Chicago, and it was Green Day. It was the Jaded in Chicago tour, and Pansy Division opened up.
Some of you may have actually seen it on MTV. It was broadcast live.
Yes, actually, and it's funny too because the guy who took me to the concert, we still talk about it to this day. Obviously, it's over 20 years ago that we went, and you could see us. This ridiculous mosh pit started around us. It was stupid. This guy behind me was incredibly stoned. I mean, not that, what, anyway.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
There's anything wrong with that. But he was just wasted out of his gourd. And
well, you do realize that a Green Day.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of course. But I mean.
But for those of you who are out there who are unaware, just think
it's your heads or scratching your heads.
Thinking it's just the name of a band. A Green Day is when you take the day off of school or work to just smoke pot all day.
Get hit high. Yeah. I mean, again, I give zero shits that he was, but I was this little tiny 15-year-old girl getting pushed into this mosh pit, and the guy who I was with, he's like 6'3", so he's grabbing these people and pulling them off of me so he can grab me and pull me out of there. So that like legit concert venues, not that the one that I went to, the very very first one,
Drop it.
Second, it wasn't. It was good. It was a good experience. But my first real, going out, hanging out with friends to go to a concert, for those of you from Chicago, you will have fond memories. It was to see Slapstick at the Fireside Bowl.
Now, for those that you are unaware, the Fireside Bowl is literally...
It's a bowling alley.
Yes. Not figuratively a bowling alley.
It is legit.
There were people bowling
Yes.
probably during the concert.
Any show that I've seen there have been people bowling.
See, I never had an opportunity to go to the Fireside Bowl, mainly because, one, I really wasn't into a whole lot of punk music.
I see.
Two, I was afraid to go because I was a hippie kid, and I figured I'd get shanked.
I tell you what, though, it was such an eclectic crowd, and a lot of my musician friends who are local, obviously, and some of them have gained some national notoriety, they used to play there. And it was really fucking cool. Now you look back and you see all the really cool posters that people designed. It's just, I'm very proud to say that was my first actual concert experience.
Nice.
But, before the Aragon, of course.
Right,
So.
right. Well,
what about you? You're like a big concert whore anyway.
yeah, dude.
You always
I'm
have
looking
been.
over on my desk here in the Hood Cave, and I'm looking at a stack of all my concert tickets from, for almost 30 years of concert going. The first show that I ever went to, I'm trying to see if it's easily grabbed. It is.
You know what's cool though, Reuben? I got to say this real quick because at least we still have paper tickets from when we were kids, because now it's just fucking e-tickets, or if you want them mailed, you have to pay.
I'll pay for it.
I mean, I do too. But
So, here we go. April 21st, 1988. So, 29 years ago in about 4 months.
fuck.
8 p.m. at what used to be called the Rosemont Horizon.
I knew you were going to say that.
I saw live in concert the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson.
How cool is that?
Let's see if you can hear this. That was me dropping the ticket on the table here.
Now you have to tell the story though why you went to this concert.
Okay, so that was maybe a year after, because Bears won the Super Bowl in what, 86?
86.
Okay, so I was in 86. I had actually had open heart surgery. I had a fibroid tumor around one of my arteries.
Fuck, I didn't know that it was a fibroid tumor.
Yeah, it was a fibroid tumor around the carotid artery, so they had to go in and cut it out.
Wow.
And replace it with Svine. I have Svine. Svine is big.
That's what. Okay, you said it, and I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah, no, but so they used pig artery and they replaced it. So there was it was a pretty decent recovery period, and I was severely underweight. I was just a tiny little scrawny shit, and
Damn.
My mom told me in a year after having that surgery, I gained so much weight. I grew so much. I grew like 6 sizes in a year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because the tumor was restricting the blood flow to the rest of my body.
Right.
So I was having chest pains and stuff and whatnot. Yeah, I was mad. Dude, that was my 3rd heart surgery. So
Your third?
3rd. Yeah, I had 3. Yeah, 6 months old, 3 years old, and 7, I turned 8 in the hospital.
Shit. I knew you had heart surgery. I didn't realize it was 3 surgeries.
Yeah, well, yeah. So in all the recovery time and all of that followed, you know, I really started to gain a love for music. Aerosmith was like, and Def Leppard were like,
Nice.
Aerosmith had just come back onto the scene.
And the Hysteria album by
Oh,
Def
dude.
Leppard.
Dude, that album.
Fucking yes.
So, but in that time, though, Michael Jackson came out with the Bad album.
Yes.
In
It
'87.
was 87, yes.
So it was right after I had my heart surgery. And, you know, my mom found out that tickets went on sale, and she went and got me tickets. And I remember we were driving to a doctor's appointment for me, and they had already gotten the tickets. But she's like, so, just so you know, on Thursday, we're gonna pick you up from school a little early, and we got some stuff to do that evening. I'm like, what are we doing? She's like, well...
And I can hear your mom's voice, though, saying this to you.
Yeah, and she's like, well... we're gonna go see Michael Jackson, and I swear to God that I was gonna have another heart attack at that moment.
Did you cry in your pants?
I did. I had a little. I didn't know what was happening, but I felt funny in the pantsel area, and but yeah. So we went to the show, and I remember my other mom, Shar, snuck in a camera. She had
Shar.
like, she's good. They're good. All of them are
I
good.
didn't say how. I said hi.
Oh.
Because they're going to listen, duh.
Well, Shar will. I doubt my mom
Probably not.
knows what a
But
podcast
hi,
is.
Shar.
But
Anyway.
if she does, hi Mom, I love you. Hi Shar, I love you. But yeah, so Shar snuck in like her 35 millimeter camera. I think like she held the camera. My mom had the lens. For some reason, they got in with it. This was before it was all like, you know, before they had the like the metal
Can
detectors.
you please dump out your 5 bags that you have around your arm, ma'am? Okay.
Yeah, so it was before all of that. So
Touching the ticket, guys. I'm touching the ticket.
and I'm smacking her hand away from. No, you can go ahead and see it. But Shar got some really. I didn't realize how rough it is to take like good pictures in the dark. But man, that show was amazing. No opening act.
Really?
2.5 hours, just straight Michael Jackson. Played everything from like ABC all the way up to Bad.
Wow.
Yeah, it was incredible. Costume changes. I remember when they did Thriller. Like he like came out with the mask with the wolf and
He did?
Yeah, dude. Like it was one of the most
Wow.
amazing concert experiences to this day I have seen.
You know what's fucking cool about this ticket, though, too? Again, I know you guys can't see it. What we can do, we can take a picture.
Scan it and
post
put it on our page.
I was going to say, yeah, we'll take a picture and put it on the Facebook page. The coolest thing is I look at this and you can just barely still see the price. But back then in 1988, it was $25. Now, if you think about that now, 30 years later, you'd probably pay $250, if not more.
Dude, I paid $100 to see Hamilton behind a pole.
Right. See, the tickets that I had were fairly similar. Same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, $25 to see fucking Michael Jackson, the King of Pop.
In his only, actually not his only, it was his last tour in the United States ever. He never toured after that.
Because all that shit happened in the 90s. Yeah, that's right.
I think the only other show, I think he may have done like a show in New York maybe, and that Egg Ball halftime show. Sports ball halftime show.
That's the sports ball, the big game sports ball show. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like the last time he was in Chicago. Or the last time he
shit.
toured. Yeah, he'd never toured after that. Because, you know.
All of that stuff. And I remember after that, I the name of the album escapes me, but when he had that song, Leave Me Alone.
That was on Dangerous.
Yes, that's the album. Thank you.
Yeah,
and it was
well,
all
because
about
the
that
last,
shit, yeah.
the album that came out after Dangerous was History.
Right.
Which was the double album.
Yes.
It was like a couple new songs, and then it had like all the old hits on it. It was a double like greatest hits and then some.
Right.
And then he had Invincible that came out after that, which wasn't great.
Was that the one where he did the song with Janet Jackson, Scream?
No,
On Invincible?
that was on. No, that was on Dangerous as well.
No, it was later in the 90s, I promise you. Because I remember, I want to say it was maybe mid to late 90s. But I remember that video, though, when it came out. Like I said, I don't recall the album. Maybe it was on Janet's album, but I feel like it was on Michael's, on something that he did.
And, of course, my internet's sucking right now.
Hey, producer guy, you want to take a look and see? We're going to see, because I have a feeling
Not
that...
Micah Chatham. Who the hell is that?
I have a feeling... We'll let Jake take a look at that, but I have a feeling Reuben's going to be apologizing to me and saying, Dana, you were right all along. And
Yeah,
you guys
I
will get
doubt
to
that.
hear it. It's okay. We can have Jake take a look at that. But
Right. So, yeah.
So Michael Jackson.
Michael
yes.
Jackson was the first concert I ever went to. And then I followed it up with Ricky Van Shelton.
Who the fuck is that?
He's a country and or western singer. Okay. And it sounds like rock and or roll. He was a country and western singer, and I saw him at Six Flags over St. Louis with my deaf grandparents.
What? How I'm sorry if there's any deaf listeners.
Sorry, that sounded way worse than it is. Trust me. I have nothing but respect for the deaf community. Dana is
we
just
make jokes.
An awful whore.
Yes.
So, but yeah, no, my grandparents used to live down in St. Louis, and during summers I would go down to their place, and they used to have free concerts. So I went to go see Ricky Van Shelton for free, and my grandparents were bored out of their gourd.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
What's the year?
Screams. Oh, it was actually on History.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not
So
apologizing.
Mid-90s. Yeah, but I was right, though.
No.
I was right, though. It's cool.
No, you're not right. You're right. You're just an asshole, Walter.
You're out of your element, Donnie.
Donnie,
Hey,
please.
guess what?
Dos dedos, mi amigos.
Yes. Okay, let's get off the phones. Let's
Yeah, all right,
get
sorry.
back to stuff.
We're going to be editing, I'm sure.
Yes,
Well,
Jake, you're going to have to cut this stuff out. Yeah.
Producer Jake. So, along those lines, so your first concert was at the Aragon Ballroom, which is dope, because I didn't go to the Aragon until, I want to say it was probably 96 or 97 when I saw Oasis.
Nice.
They were on the What's the Story Morning Glory tour. They were supposed to be playing at the Riviera. It got oversold, so they moved to the Aragon. So the Riviera is probably about 2,700 people, I would say.
I was going to ask.
The
I can't
Riv,
remember.
and they think the Aragon is probably...
Isn't it like 4,000 or
Yeah, it's
maybe
probably
more?
closer to 4.
5?
Yeah,
maybe?
probably closer to 4. Maybe 5 is probably
Pushing
pushing it. And I think the last show I saw at the Aragon was Them Crooked Vultures, which was Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, which is one of my favorite bands ever. Dave Grohl on drums. And John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin played like 14 different instruments. And I got tickets for that, and Eli and I went to that show. Shout out to Eli.
Cool.
But yeah, it was a phenomenal show. But that's the last time I went, and that was back in... Well, when did the earthquake in Haiti happen? That was 7 years ago?
I think.
Yeah, so it was shortly after that. I had come home from a trip to Haiti.
Yeah.
And bought tickets that day that I got home, and found there were tickets still available.
Were you still living in the city at that? No,
No, I was in
You
DeKalb.
were in DeKalb already. Okay.
Yeah. So that was my first and last show there.
God, I'm trying to think of my last show at the Aragon. I am struggling now. We didn't see Ben Folds at the Aragon. It wasn't the Yes, it was the Aragon. Or no, that was the Riv that we saw him. So what the hell was at the Aragon? I honestly don't remember, and I'm inclined to say that it was probably well over 5-7 years ago. I mean, all my concert going days were pretty much, once I lived in the city, I was going to shows all the time. My second concert was at the Allstate Arena, which is formerly known as the Rosemont Horizon, and that's when I went to go see The Cure in 96. It was the Wild Mood Swings tour. I have that ticket still.
I think my second actual concert was either Lollapalooza 94 or Mudhoney at the Metro.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, okay, just so you know, this is going to be completely categorical. This whole podcast, Dana and I talking about music, because this is how we talk about music.
This is true. And my husband gets bored a lot of the times and just kind of sits here.
He's like, can we talk about cars,
Yeah.
please?
He shakes his head no, but I mean, on the inside, he's screaming yes.
Oh, I'm not going to say.
Yeah, don't even. Yeah, it's cool.
It's like Dana's wedding night.
Why does it have to just be the wedding night?
Oh.
So,
Anyway,
but
but the other day you were listening to Space Hog.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I had said, oh man, this is a good podcast. Have you seen Space Hog live?
No.
I've seen him twice. The first time I ever saw them, oddly enough, was at the Metro. And they were opening up for a band called Tripping Daisy.
I fucking loved Tripping Daisy.
Dude, I saw Tripping Daisy a shit ton. Like, I saw Tripping Daisy so much to the point that they recognized me and my buddy John Ziegler because every time they came to Chicago, we were in the front.
John, the guy you lived with in the city?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were at Tripping Daisy, and it was... I want to say it was on the Firecracker tour. Well, I Am the Elastic Firecracker tour.
Nice.
And all of a sudden, the opening band, they're getting ready to start, and they're setting up all the gear. Now, at the Metro, it's this 800-person venue, maybe, or 2,700.
I think it's like 1,200 people.
Either way, it's a tiny, tiny, tiny little venue in Chicago. It's literally a hole in the wall. And
It's not that bad.
it's not bad.
It's not that small, though. It's big. It's bigger than Shuba's. It's bigger
All
than...
right, whatever.
Yeah.
But so we saw all these like Rastafarian dudes coming out and setting up their equipment. And we're like, oh, this is going to be good. Because like in a venue like that, for the size of a show that it was, I mean, Tripping Daisy they were from Dallas. I mean, they were a decent band. They toured, but they weren't a big band.
Right.
By any stretch of the imagination. And the Space Hog band, nobody had ever heard of.
Of course,
So
until,
usually like on your first tour, you don't have roadies. You set your own shit up because you have no money for roadies.
Right.
So there's all these Rastafarian dudes setting everything up. We're like, oh man, we're going to get in some Rasta shit tonight. This is going to be dope. And then all of a sudden, these scrawny, square-chinned white dudes come out, start playing some like really shitty pop music, like alternative pop music, like Q101 style. Q101 was like the greatest radio station ever from like 92 to 97.
I'd even say until like 2000. It still pretty much had a good heyday then.
Anyway, yeah, I would suppose. So, like, we booed them. They were awful.
Who the fuck was it, though?
It was Space Hog.
That's who it was?
That's who opened up for him. It was Space Hog. And we thought we were going to get, like, all these, like, some kind of cool Rastafarian punk band. We thought we were getting Bad Brains.
That's what I was going to say.
I mean, we knew it was Space Hog because the ticket said Space Hog. But, like, I'm seeing dudes that look like, Bad Brains. And I'm like, dude, this is going to be dope. And it was just like, oh.
Everybody boo them, too?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Holy shit.
And then Tripping Daisy came out and leveled the joint. And then, about 2 years later, we saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the United Center. And Space Hog and the Toadies opened up for them.
The Toadies. Just kidding.
They were
really
so
like
good. Toadies were amazing. Space Hog, yet again, sucked. And the Red Hot Chili Peppers...
They're not that great in concert.
They have a 50-50 record with me.
That's kind of what I thought.
And I'm not going to pay to see them again.
Wasn't impressed. I mean, I think if we were of age back in like the early to
91,
80s, even for Blood Sugar
Sex Magic.
Thank you. That would have probably been the last of it, in my opinion. For like before they started doing all like the
adult contemporary music,
contemporary bullshit. Sorry, I don't want to hear your shit on the mix.
No, I want to hear Anthony Kiedis sing about his dick.
Yes,
because that's when they were fun.
Yes.
So I saw the Chili Peppers. The first time I ever saw them was that show, and they were touring with Dave Navarro.
Nice.
Because Frusciante had left the group by then. They were touring on One Hot Minute, and they couldn't have not wanted to be there more. Like Dave Navarro was like barely there. Like he was like playing guitar, he was there, but he was watching The Godfather on a monitor off stage.
That's really fucking disappointing. And you know why? Because all of you moes paid a good chunk of money to come and see them, and then they're like barely there. I mean, I when I hear stories like this from people about shitty concert experiences, it makes me think, then why fucking tour if you're just a studio band?
Now, I saw them again in 97? Right before By the Way came out.
Okay.
No. Californication. It was right before Californication. John Frusciante had just rejoined the group. And they were at Q101's Jamboree in 97. No, 98. It was 98. Because we were in the skybox for that. Because my friend Carrie worked for Coors.
Nice.
So we got a skybox. Never get a skybox at the World Music Theater or the Tinley Park Amphitheater, whatever it's called now. They've changed names like 40 times. A 6-pack of beer is like $20. In 1998, it was $20. Anyway, neither here nor there. So we saw them there. They leveled the stage. Leveled it.
That's 5 years before I saw them there, and I was dating somebody at the time.
Destroyed it. Now, I saw him later on, and I saw him in 99 down in Carbondale at the SIU Arena with the Foo Fighters and Muse.
Nice. And Muse, meh, but Foo Fighters, yeah.
Look, Muse are technically, they're a great band. Their last 2 albums are all like, no one's going to take us alive. We're going to stand up, eviscerate the proletariat, like whatever. They're like too political. They suck. But musically, they're fantastic. We missed them.
Thank God.
Because Ziegler and I were driving from NIU all the way down to Carbondale in his station wagon with a tire.
It a Woody wagon?
No. But his tire had a broken belt in it. So, like, we're driving, we can't get over 50. It's going, like, we can't get more than 50. By the time we got there, Muse just ended. And Ziegler was disappointed because he's been a Muse fan since, like, they were British. So
that's like saying when Madonna was still American.
Right. So we got there, and Foo Fighters just took the stage. And they were on the There Is Nothing Left to Lose tour. Destroyed. Chili Peppers came out, destroyed. Then, about 3 years later, which would have been about the time that you saw them,
2003,
at Tinley Park again, yeah. I saw them with Queens of the Stone Age.
I was there with Todd. I don't think it was Queens of the Stone Age.
It was Queens of the Stone Age.
In 2003?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Queens of the Stone Age opened up for them. That's the only reason I went.
God, and you know what? And I don't remember that at all.
Because it was cold as fuck.
It was cold as shit that night. And I remember I had bought Todd, we had seats originally, and I sold them because I was able to get pit tickets. And I wound up catching Chad Smith's drumstick. It was kind of cool.
That's dope.
That was kind of
But
awesome.
like, they were so plagued with technical issues at that show.
It was yes.
Like, it was. I will never ever pay to see, with a 50% success rate on a band. I will never pay to see them live again.
No way.
Yeah.
I promise that we're getting up to like our concert experience together too. But
which, oddly enough, was only a year before that.
Yeah. God, that's right. It was because it was. Yeah.
Well, it depends.
No. It was 2001 because it was when we were still at when I was still at NIU.
That's right.
It was definitely 01. So
yeah.
Regardless, but same time period.
Irregardless. Let's get Pacific about this. So,
and now we bring you Grammar Nazi Corner.
Thanks for correcting my post and uncapitalizing my first and second.
No problem.
Douche nugget.
That's what I'm here for. That's what they pay me the big bucks to do this for.
I ain't paying you shit. So, all right. So now let's get back to the story of tonight.
The story of us, really.
I love This Is Us.
Cue in the shitty harp music.
Yeah, I see you say that, and I think of This Is Us on NBC.
I know, but we're not going to get into that.
That'll be another story for another. That'll be another podcast for another day.
Episode for sure.
So good. If you're not listening or watching that show, I don't know what you're doing with your life.
And we may or may not have to come and shank you.
Yes.
Anyway,
so one of the very first concerts that Dana and I ever attended, if not the first concert Dana and I ever attended.
It was totally the first one that we ever went to.
See, I'm wondering though.
It was because it was with. We won't say her name on the air.
She who must not be named. We'll just refer to her as Voldemort.
Lady Voldemort.
That works for me. Yes.
So, but I can't remember if it was that or if it was Violent Femmes.
Violent Femmes. Shit. No, I feel like Violent Femmes was after that because it was. I'm almost 100% positive because then we saw Bumpus after that too. Yeah.
Okay. So I remember I picked up Lady Voldemort. We drove up to One Arlington Place in Arlington Heights to pick her up.
Where I still work, again.
And how things come back full circle.
Yeah.
And I remember the first thing Dana said to me, and it wasn't the first time I had met Dana. We had classes before, I believe.
Yeah, we had hung out a few times because that's how you met Lady Voldemort.
This is true.
That's how you met her.
Dana had said to me, okay, keep up with me. I drive like an asshole.
I mean,
which probably hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So we drove into Chicago to the Riviera Theater. And we saw G-Love and Special Sauce. Now, going through my concert tickets the other day, I realized that I have seen G-Love almost as many times as I've seen Pearl Jam and Fish.
No kidding.
Yes. I've seen G-Love probably 20 times.
See, I don't share that number with you. I saw G a lot back in the day. I'm just not a fan of his new shit.
No. Well, oddly enough, this tour that we saw him on was his
fabulous.
It was really his last good, solid 100% record.
Yes.
And we'll get deeper into that here shortly. So I have been listening to G since his first album came out in '94. I was working
I picked him up in '97, so a few years after.
I was working at a Sam Goody music store in Aurora, Illinois, home of Wayne's World. Party Time, it's excellent. And I had a manager there that would play this album, and it was bluesy, and it was hip hop.
It was Coast to Coast Motel, right?
No, that was his second album. It was G Love and Special Sauce. G Love and Special Sauce.
That's right.
It was the eponymous self-titled album.
That's right.
And I'm like, who is this? And they're like, oh, it's G Love. Now, this was a promo CD. There was no cover to the album.
Oh, nice.
And I had no idea the dude was white.
I didn't either when I first heard him.
Yeah.
I
I had
no
clue. So I've been a fan of his ever since. Like, the very first time I ever saw G was at the Riviera with the Violent Femmes opening.
How crazy! Okay, so how crazy is that?
And I got my tickets for free from the Sony rep.
How cool is that, though? Because think about this. So we went, our first show together was G Love and Special Sauce, and then we went to Violent Femmes after.
So yeah, so they keep playing the CD for me, and I'm like, man, who is this? There was no cover. And finally the CD came in. And it's just this corny-looking white guy.
Yeah.
And a stringy, long-haired dude.
Super sexy, tall man.
And the drummer. It was like a three-piece. Mm-hmm. And they played their own instruments.
What is it? It's house band, Jimmy Jazz, and G.
And G.
Yeah.
It was surprising because I had never heard music like this before. Ever.
I agreed.
And they kind of came out with this whole Philadelphia thing because the Roots started right around that same time frame with Philadelphia Half-Life. And the Organics. So that kind of came out right around the same time frame.
Interesting.
Yeah. G and the Roots toured together.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, and people will. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jill Scott was part of all of that as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
If that's the case, that's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah. So a friend of mine, or my manager at the time, got tickets. She couldn't go. She gave me the tickets. And me and my friend Shay went to the show. And we saw the
awesome.
Violent Femmes open up for G Love and Special Sauce. And Violent Femmes were touring on New Times.
Nice.
Which, breaking up is easy to do.
Right.
Breaking up. And Violent Femmes I've seen a gang of times too since then.
When I first heard G, it's when I was a college DJ at Harper College. And that was the first time I heard him in '97. And it was... What did my girlfriend play? She played Stepping Stones.
Yeah, that would have been
that easy.
Yeah, it's that easy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love that damn album.
And actually, that's not a full G Love and Special Sauce album.
Really?
Yeah, G and the Special Sauce were having issues during that time frame, so the All Fellas band stepped in and recorded half of those tracks with them.
Interesting.
That's why on I-76 at the beginning it goes,
"All
Fellas," because it's the All Fellas band that's helping him out on that.
No kidding.
Yeah, so that is an incredible record.
That
phenomenal
album is amazing, and that's what hooked me.
Yeah,
because much like you said, I had never heard anything like that before, ever. Yeah. It was, at that point in the '90s, at least I'm sure you can relate to this. A lot of it was like shitty dance music by the late '90s, like all this terrible shit, a la
James Brown is dead.
Yeah. Totally. And we're gonna get sued for that. So, so that was the shitty music that I was used to. Well, plus I was doing my little juice club, going to the juice clubs, the Palindrome when that was still a thing.
Never went.
Well, wasn't
it part of like Medusa's?
No. Not even the same thing. Nope.
Okay.
It was in Palatine off of Dundee Road.
I was never a club kid, so I
wouldn't call myself a club kid. It was not like that at all. It was just we would go out to dance and shake our asses and meet boys. That's what it was.
I think that's the actual definition of a club kid.
Probably not. Anyway, totally different story for another night. But
smoker cigarettes in the parking lot.
No, we could smoke inside the club. It was totally yeah. No, it was legit. But no, that was the first time that I heard G, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the music. But the first time that I ever got to see him was with you. That was my first time ever seeing him live.
I had seen him. Oh God, I can't tell you how many times I saw him before then because I've seen him on every tour.
See, I stopped
up to that point.
I stopped. I think we had tickets to go last year, and we couldn't go. And
he's playing Friday night.
I know
tomorrow night.
It's tomorrow night.
Sunday. It's the 14th.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Today's Friday.
Today's the 13th, darling.
Okay, yeah, my bad.
But I haven't seen him probably since 06, and I think that's when Sess and I went to go see him at the Cubby Bear, and we were like right up fucking front. Like I could have, smelled his breath if I wanted to. That's how close we were.
Wow.
To
Yeah.
him.
Eli and I saw him 2 years ago on the 20th anniversary tour for the first album, and he did the first album in its entirety, and then at the end, the second set, he did like kind of a greatest hits, and then he did a lot of stuff off the Sugar album, which wasn't bad.
I just can't. I'm going to be honest with you. Like Lemonade, I hated that album. I was just not a fan of that. I just can't get into really anything. I don't know. It's just like the old school thing, man. That's kind of my jam. I can't get into anything that was really after the Electric Mile, honestly, which is really like, the album we're going to be talking about that too. That's really
because I actually I didn't even know the Coast to Coast Motel came out because I was still working for Sam Goody at the time, and we were closing the store in Evanston.
Oh shit!
And there was like a bag of promo CDs, and here's this G Love album in there. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Wow.
And Coast to Coast Motel is one of my
album.
favorite albums. That's like the Back Porch Blues album.
Okay, and I was going to say, what are the other two just G albums?
It's G Love and Special Sauce. It is from there.
One was Gone Country or something.
Oh, those are the authorized bootlegs that he put out. There was the Oh Yeah
for me.
Yeah, one was Oh Yeah.
Yes.
That's the one with the shoe on the front.
Yes, that's the
then
one.
Then it was G's Gone Country, G in the King's Court, and then Back in the Day.
Yes,
because there were 4 of them, if I'm not mistaken. I've got them all. They're sitting on my CD rack.
I think I only have 3, but regardless. So
yeah, irregardless. But yeah, so that one came out, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And I loved that album. And then it was Coast to Coast Motel after that,
right?
And was it Electric Mile after that?
I'm trying to. It had to have been because I don't recall another album in between that.
Producer Jake, you want to jump on the interwebs with the power of the interwebs on that? So at this point we were in love with G. Okay, and I was on the NIU concert committee and got G Love to play at NIU.
Are you the one who helped?
I got that. Yeah, nobody else was. I'm like, dude, people are coming from Chicago. We sold like 250 tickets.
Really?
That was it.
Damn it,
dude. Faith Evans sold out.
I'm sure. Did Ben Folds when he was there too?
I was not around for that.
Okay.
And then they were like, oh yeah, we took him to Otto's afterwards. Where were you? I'm like, I went home. I went to bed. They were like, we took him to Otto's because you said you were going to be at Otto's. And I'm like, well, I fucked up.
I kind of want to kick you in the nuts for that, for not fucking going.
And then a couple days later, I went to Otto's, which, okay, just so you know, Otto's was probably one of the most amazing tiny little shit dive clubs I've ever been into in my life.
They served beer in big plastic soda pop cups. Like that's what it was. Like the big plastic ones that you would get
a big
at
ass Guinness
the restaurant
for $4.
Yeah, it was amazing.
But they used to have all kinds of crazy live shows going, and maybe we'll do a Otto's episode at some point.
I think we should.
We should. I guess they took him to Otto's. I went to Otto's later. He tagged a toilet seat at Otto's, and I so wanted to go back and steal it, but then I'd have to touch a toilet seat from Otto's.
You could have just wrapped your hands in a lot of toilet paper.
No, you'd get AIDS on you.
I was going to say herpes. Same difference.
So we find out that they're going. We get tickets. We get Dana. We get to the show. And there's an opening act, as if there's always an opening act to every show.
I kind of looked at Reuben. I was pissed. I'm like, where's G? Where's G?
And I'm like, dude, you've been to enough concerts. You know when a ticket says 7 o'clock, there's an opening act. It's not like when producer Jake and I went to go see Lauryn Hill this summer, and the ticket, which quite frankly was probably one of the worst shows I've ever been to. Producer Jake just came to me. It went G11 Special Sauce self-titled, Coast to Coast Motel. Yeah, it's that easy. Then the Back in the Day, which was a non-album.
Right.
Ooh, there's one called Watch Out. I need to look for that one. Philadelphonic came out.
Shit, that's what it was.
Dude, Philadelphonic was a dope-ass album.
That album.
That's the one where, we'll get to it. Front Porch Loungin', which was the bootleg that he put out. Electric Mile. And then after that was the live album that he did, and then a couple albums that just weren't
that were
great.
Shitty.
Oddly enough, the Lemonade album is not on here.
Good, because it's a piece of crap.
Actually,
Garrett,
Lemonade,
I love you very much, but come on, man.
The Lemonade album was not bad. It wasn't great. And Superhero Brothers not on there either. And neither is... No. What was the other one? There was another one.
That was terrible, too.
There was an album... Carnival, I think is what it... Oh, Carnival was terrible. The only good song was The Kids in the Back of the Bus. Anyway.
Oh, the back of the bus. Yeah.
All the cool kids in the back of the bus.
I don't think it was on Carnival, though.
Was.
Really?
Yes. We'll verify. Producer Jake, you want to run over to my CD collection and go grab it?
I'm just curious.
Gene Love, I think it's called Carnival. Carnival? Producer Jake's going to go validate me.
I'm just curious, because that was the only song that I...
It was the only good song on the album.
Yeah.
And it's got a black and white cover.
Please tell me these are in some kind of order.
Alphabetical.
Questions you have to ask when you're surfing Reuben Hood's CD collection.
You're just lucky I didn't do it alphabetical by genre, which I have done.
Barry.
I've done it.
Sorry. No, but that wasn't John Cusack's character. Anywho's.
So, we go to this show, and out walks, like, this bass player and a drummer and some, like, scruffy, shaved head dude with an acoustic guitar. And we're like, all right, what are we in for? And I'm looking at Dana, and Dana's looking at me, and Lady Voldemort's just kind of standing there, because that's kind of what she did.
Yeah.
And I'm wishing I had weed, because I knew that this opening band was just going to suck. I had it I felt it in my bones.
You will not agree with my opinion. I still wasn't overly impressed.
At the first impression?
Yeah.
Or period?
Period. I really wasn't with the opener. And let's pop their cherry so they know.
So, no, let's...
Well,
so
let's
there
not...
is no Carnival.
Yeah, I didn't... It
The
wasn't
hustle.
Carnival. It was the hustle. Yeah. And I own that
All
one,
the cool
too.
kids on the back of the bus.
Yeah.
So Jake brought me 14 CDs, which is my entire
Good
G-Love
job,
Special
baby.
Sauce collection.
Well, you asked for a CD called Carnival, and there was none, so I was a little confused.
Well, I mean, it kind of looks like a carnival-like thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right,
So,
I'll put those back.
thank you, sir.
No problem, sir.
Producer Jake going the extra mile, or the electric mile,
I hope
if
you guys
will.
are still listening at this point. Just,
All right, so this guy blew me away. Now, mind you, in this time frame of my life, I'm a huge Fish fan. I've got hair down to my shoulders. Totally just that guy.
Yes.
And what we find out is that this unknown guy who just showed up to tour with G Love at this specific tour was none other than Jack Johnson, a complete unknown.
A fucking surfer dude, man, who picked up a guitar and started playing, basically.
And I was blown away. Just because of the subtlety of it and the honesty of the music.
I will give you that. He's not awful. I don't think he's terrible. But we kind of had an assignment for the week to re-listen to Brushfire Fairy Tales by Jack Johnson and then The Electric Mile by G Love. So in listening to it again, there are good songs on there. Don't get me wrong, but I just wasn't overly impressed. Like, it didn't, blow my face off, and I didn't walk away like, oh my God, I want to see him in concert again. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion. His music's okay, but to me, it's not John Mayer, right? But it like reminds me of just those, oh, I'm gonna do this song, it's gonna get on the radio. I don't care for it.
My whole thing, which is odd because you're such a whore for singer-songwriters.
I am, but I don't know what it is. Don't get me wrong.
No.
There's some good songs on the album, but I just not overly impressed.
And for me, it was that, like, this is an album that you can just put on and just chill out to.
Oh, yeah. I listened to it at work during the week this week because that's what we were doing. And I'm like, shit, I got to listen to the album again because I remembered a good chunk of the songs.
Yeah.
But to me, that's what it was. It was like, okay, cool. I can do my work to this and
right.
And maybe it's because I'm older now too. I just don't have as much of an appreciation for that album.
Right. Yeah. And for me, it's like there's a lot of, I think lyrically, there's a lot of clever lyrics in it.
Oh,
and I'm not like big for clever. I usually think that clever is like,
you're pushing it almost, like you're forcing it maybe.
No, for me, clever is more like I can't be witty, so I'm going to be clever. But on this, the way that his lyrics are on this album, like, and now mind you, I saw Jack 3 more times on this album.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I haven't seen him since. So I became a fan. And then he put out the On and On album after this, which a lot of the songs that he did on these tours, he re-recorded. Yeah, he recorded for that album.
Right.
So basically he had 2 albums worth of material that he was touring on, but released one after the other. So I went to see him after this. I went to go see him at Tower Records at DePaul.
Wow.
He did an in-store, and actually there's a guitar.
Yeah,
which is now defunct.
It's gone, yeah.
But I've got a guitar in the other room that I actually had Jack sign.
Okay, that's kind of cool. But I tell you what
And then I saw him again at the Canopy Club.
in Carbondale,
Carbondale.
right? Yeah.
So I went to hang out with a friend of mine whose dad owned one of the two guys that run Kiss the Sky. And I hung out in his frat house. And now, granted, kids, I don't advocate for drug usage, but I don't disadvocate it either. Look, you do what you want to do.
Just wait till your kids get older and hear this.
Right.
I'm going to be honest with my children. But, and marijuana is not a drug. Like Cat Williams said, it grows out of the ground, and if you light it, it has some effects. So I smoked these guys under a table, these frat guys. So then after that, we went to see Jack Johnson at the Canopy Club. And I got through about half of the show, and I fell asleep because it was hot as hell in there, and I was sitting down, and I passed out. And that was the last time I went to see Jack Johnson.
You know what, though? I got to tell you, when we saw them do Rodeo Clowns, when we saw the concert together, I loved it because G had that song. Was it on Electric Mile?
No, that was on Philadelphonic. So it was two albums. No.
It was an album before this.
It was the album before this. I know what your app said, Producer Jake, but Philadelphonic came out after Yeah, It's That Easy.
Right. Yeah, that was the album in between.
Yes.
And that's when, and I loved the song Rodeo Clowns. I loved the way that G did it. But then when I saw that Jack released it on and On, right? Because that's the album it was on. I was pissed because I hated his version of the song.
Which is ironic because he wrote it.
He wrote it, but I hated his version of the song. The way that G did it was G. And the way that Jack did it, I get it. It's Jack's style, but I fucking hated it. I hated it so much.
Yeah, but like Inaudible Melodies, great opening track.
It's a great opening track, yes.
Middleman is a good song. I got one of the lines in there that really kills me is I'm a simple person. I've got a little less than nothing, but I still find some to share. And a lot of people have more than they could use, but they don't. Which I think is a dope line. Sexy Plexi like kind of addresses the issues of body image,
right?
Which is a great tune.
It's a great message too.
Flake was the radio single.
I know.
I like Flake. Bubble Toes was written about his wife.
I did like Bubble Toes. I will give you that. That was a good song.
Fortunate Fools, just kind of one of those dreamy songs. It's really good.
And that's another song that I do like.
The News, I'm not a fan of.
You don't like it?
No, because the lyric...
I didn't like it at first.
The lyric for me is, why don't the newscasters cry when they read about people who died? Because it's not their fucking job to cry about people who died. They report the news, okay? So
I think what he's trying to say, though, is he's trying to bring it back to the human aspect.
No, I get what he's trying to say, but it's stupid.
Well, it's funny, though, because listening to the album again, that is one of the songs that stuck out to me that I actually enjoyed listening to, so that I didn't like before.
Drink the Water is dope. Drink the water, drink it down. And it's about him surfing. Like,
it is.
And he was a professional surfer before this.
Oh, yeah, I know. He made a movie. He's made movies and shit.
Thicker Than Water, actually, I've got the DVD for.
Oh,
Thicker Than Water is actually a decent documentary.
I heard it was a really good documentary.
But yeah, it's kind of cool. Mud Football is one of my favorite songs.
It's such a
fun little song about growing up. F-Stop Blues is a good tune.
Yeah.
It's kind of bluesy. I like that about it.
It is a little bit, yeah.
Losing Hope is dope. I love Losing Hope.
Like I said, there are songs that I enjoy on here, but is it something, like, am I going to give it 2 mics up? No. I would give it like a half a mic up. You know what I'm saying? Like a neutral rating.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible album. I was so much more excited to re-listen to Electric Mile.
Yeah. And it's all understood. I mean, it was a soft, like, closing track.
Sure.
Nothing really memorable about the song. I honestly think that, like, I really like this album a lot, but I think that On and On was a better album. I like the songs on that album a lot better.
If I had to compare, yes.
But it's still a solid, like, debut album from a singer-songwriter.
Sure.
That, like, who ended up becoming way bigger than G Love.
Oh, he did. He completely cast a shadow over. I mean, yeah. And
absolutely.
And it kind of bothered me for a while, but then G was putting out a bunch of shitty albums, so then I was kind of like, well, I get it. But
and then we get to G.
Electric Mile, man.
So G puts on a good show. Yes. I don't care. Like, I've seen G probably 15 to 20 times.
I love when he sits down and he's playing and he's
doing got his legs scrawling all over the place.
Yeah, his skinny little scrawny legs all over the place. It's great.
Oh, God, what's the lyric off the first album? Like Popeye and I got spinach. I write lyrics so sloppy it's like a secret language. Like, seriously, this guy sounds like... If people had a hard time understanding Eddie Vedder in the 90s, the first 2 G albums, you're like, I don't know if he's just, like, Weird Al singing with marbles in his mouth or what's going on. But
it's like Snow in Former.
It's like you would almost think that like if you talk to G, you're going to get wet because he's going to spit on you.
I actually did talk to him, and I did not have to wear like a raincoat or anything. Not the double entendre meaning either.
I was going to say, did he wear a raincoat though? Was it evil?
I mean, I kind of want it, but yeah, no. Anyway,
sorry,
this is well before I met you, sweetheart.
Just so you know, producer Jake and Dana are married.
Yeah, we're married. It's pretty awesome.
But yeah, G was touring on the Electric Mile album, which in both of our opinions
fucking fabulous.
Was probably his last solid record.
Yes.
Now, there are sprinkles of goodness on the subsequent records.
But it's so few and far in between.
And you knew that this album was going to be trouble because on the cover, it's a blue cover with G like blowing into a harmonica, but he's wearing a bandana and he's got cornrows. I have a thing. I don't trust a man with cornrows, and I don't trust... wait. Not a man. I'm sorry. I don't trust a white dude with cornrows, and I don't trust a white dude with dreadlocks.
I can't disagree with either of those statements. He almost reminded me of like a juggalo on the front of that fucking album. That's what he reminded me of.
All you need is he wasn't painted, and he would need some Faygo. And mind you, I've seen the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, Reuben!
I did not pay for the ticket, though. But
oh my God!
If you want to see an entertaining show,
no,
they put on a hell of a show. It's a spectacle. It's not a musical concert. It's a spectacle, and it's actually quite entertaining.
But
if you want to like talk about people watching and like a spectacle of like grand proportions, go see the Insane Clown Posse.
But I give zero fucks. I want to talk about G, man, not about those twats.
So the album, like the concert was amazing. Like, I couldn't tell you, I could pull it up on Setlist FM, but when you try to relive a concert like that, you're like, oh yeah, he did that song, that was good. So we're just going to go off the album here. Now, the opening track, Unified.
I love that
good
song.
Tune.
And it's a good way to start off the album, though, too. So, see, I'm a lot more enthusiastic about this one. Unified, it's a great opener.
It's got a lot of energy to it.
It's got a lot of energy,
It's really like, it pops.
It does.
Praise Up is a good tune.
Praise Up is fantastic. Grew on me because at first I was like, meh. But then the more I listened to it, the more I really got into it.
The harmonies on that song are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, the shittiest song on the record comes next. Night of the Living Dead.
I hated that song. I agree.
I still hate that
song. I
song.
don't like it. I fast forward.
It has no place on the album.
No.
It's like
it was just a throw-in.
Yeah, and like, dude, you have 13 songs on this album. Now, here's something. I have a promo cut of this album.
And that shitty song was missing, wasn't it?
No. It's still on there. But on the promo that I have, he does a cover of Bob Marley's Hammer.
Really?
And they should have deleted Night of the Living Dead and thrown the cover on there.
But I wonder if they didn't do that because of royalties and shit.
It could have been a last-minute cut because of royalties.
Right.
But Night of the Living Dead, like... A zombie's gonna eat your soul.
Yeah.
Really?
I was like, dude, no.
Like, you just came out with two super energetic songs that were like, Unify, Praise Up, let's get together and let's do this shit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like this really like hippie kind of song that's all... And I was a hippie at the time.
I know.
And I hated this song.
It was awful.
I still hate this song. Like, I can't get over how terrible... this song
That's
is.
That's what my mama said.
That's what she said.
Yeah, it was just awful.
Oh, God. And, like, when I see him perform it live, I'm like, why? You've got, like, a plethora of songs that you could have gone with, and it's terrible.
Right.
Terrible. Like, it's so bad, I don't even want to put an E in the word. It's terrible.
I agree. So, yeah.
And sorry to hear all my snorting, everybody. I'm battling a cold because I have a toddler and an infant, and that's what happens.
Poor Reuben. I'm playing the world's smallest violin for you now, darling. Moving past that shitty
the
song,
next
though.
Song, which I feel is
like that
probably
song.
The best song
I
on
agree.
the album is Parasite.
Yeah.
Now, this one brought back... Oh, gosh... I'm sorry, people. My memory is Swiss cheese from years of college because Jasper came back. Now, if anybody ever followed G Love and Special Sauce, on the very first album, there's a song called This Ain't Livin'.
Yeah.
Which was talking about homeless people.
Yes.
And Jasper had this rap verse on there that was
I remember that.
Dope! Well, Jasper's back on
he does
on
the
Parasite.
rap. Yeah.
Watch your back, parasite is on the attack. Some motherfucking parasite. Watch your back, this parasite, back to the bottom back. Dude,
It's
this
fabulous.
song is like, this song brings it up to about 11.
Well, and I think the other thing for me, though, too, and I say this as somebody, you were a communications major as well, our articulation in this song was crazy.
Yeah.
That was one of the first things that stuck out to me was the amount of articulation that went into this song, because the shit that he's spewing off in this song, the lyrics, it's such a fast-paced song.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Well,
I'm
and
like,
it's crazy
what?
that even in today's political climate, like...
It's relevant.
Like, the chorus is, all the politicians say is blah, blah, blah. All the critics have to say is blah, blah, blah. The judge and the jury say blah, blah, blah. They just freak in my mind with this blah, blah, blah. And then the man running for president say what you want to hear. When he gets elected, he turns the other ear. The oldest game in the book, put the older man down. Credibility is gone, long gone. Yo, the words were wrong.
Does it remind you of an orange Cheeto?
Cheeto Man!
Oh, I guess it's kind of redundant. Orange Cheeto, same difference. Any hooser.
Yeah, but that for me, that's my that is my album pick.
Yeah,
like that song. Like when they do that shit live, I'm like, oh shit! Like,
and he cries in his pants again, just like he did when he was 8 years old.
And when I went to see Hamilton,
that too.
From there, it's Hopeless Case, which is a good song.
It's decent, but the next song is what I prefer. Free at
Last
is great.
Yeah, that's like a good that's like the G-Love equivalent to I Will Survive.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good comparison, I think.
Yeah, and so that's a good one. Now, the next track on the album is Shy Girl.
It's okay. It's not one of my top picks on the album, though.
Here's my defense and my apologetics to this song. This song is a direct harken back to the old Philadelphia soul of the 60s and 70s.
That's a good point.
Like, it is a beautiful song.
I don't know that this is the album for it, though.
Well, in the context of it, I mean, every album that they do needs like this. It needs a
more
love
focused.
Well, it's a love song, you know.
Yes.
And there, up to this point, there hasn't been a love song. There's been no ballad up to this point, unless you want to consider like Night of the Living Dead.
No.
And now that I look at it,
No, not that piece of shit song. No.
she didn't write it.
Thank God.
No. Houseman wrote it.
Oh, now I want to punch him in his fucking gut for that, because that was the biggest piece of stinky shit song that I've heard. I shouldn't say that I've ever heard from him, because I've heard far worse.
Yeah,
However,
anything after this album was not.
That was pretty
solid.
awful. What, am I popping in your ears?
No, I was just going to say, guess who you're never getting on the show now?
Yeah, G's not coming on this show.
That's cool.
But you know what, though? This is one album.
Right.
You know, and like, he's released, I think, 2 albums recently that haven't been awful.
Too.
No, Sugar was not an awful album, because it was the first time that he got back with Special Sauce to record an album. This was the last true G-Love and Special Sauce record. Sugar was the first G-Love and Special Sauce album since 2002.
Damn.
So,
Well, 2001.
yeah.
2001. Anywho.
So,
Shy
moving on to
Girl.
that,
Yeah.
Rain Jam was
I
just
didn't like that.
Rain Jam, it was just an instrumental track. It wasn't really
It wasn't anything special.
nothing to jump up and down
It wasn't
about.
terrible, but Electric Mile I thought was a
Dude,
really
I've been
solid
trying on
track.
the Electric Mile, dude. It's
Yeah.
a solid track. It's a great cover, or it's a great, not a cover tune. It's
Not
a
a
great,
cover.
it's a great. Oh God, what the hell's the name
Throwback?
of it? No, album title.
Oh,
You know,
it's a title track.
Title track. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? But it's a great title track. It's fantastic. It's it's got.
It might not be as energetic as some of the other
No.
songs, but it's got such a good groove to it, and it's just a really well written song. I like it a lot.
It's fun, and it's got the guys playing the Moog, the keyboard on
Yes.
it. And the keyboard is what makes the song.
I agree.
Not to compare them, but it's kind of like Clutch. When Clutch did Robot Hive and the album before it.
Robot Hive Exodus, and what was the other one? I can see the album.
Yeah, it's got the worst album cover in history. But anyway, they brought in a keyboard player for those 2 albums, and those 2 albums are their best albums. When you bring in the keyboard player here, it just makes
It
this song.
amplifies
It
it.
amplifies it. It gives it a different vibe. It fills out the sound.
Yes.
Sarah's song, meh. It's the second love song on the album.
100 Magic Rings is pretty decent.
I don't feel 100 Magic Rings.
Not my favorite on the album, but it's if I had to compare, it's better than Shy Girl and Sarah's song.
See, I like Shy Girl though because I like old 60s and 70s soul.
I like that stuff too. I just don't prefer this song.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but like 100 Magic Rings just doesn't do it for me. Like, the chorus is just boring. 100 magic rings.
Oh, it totally is.
100 magic... See, make me feel like I'm wearing 100 magic rings. I'm like, okay, Frodo, can we move to the mountain?
I was just going to fucking say, man. I was going to be like, are we reading The Hobbit again? Like,
Frodo or Sonic, because at 100 magic rings, you get a free life.
That's
true.
Poison is so not memorable to me, so I don't even... And I listened to it like 3 times today. I don't...
Yeah.
Really meh. But the Free at Last
reprise is nice. It's a nice way to close out the album.
It's a good way.
It's a really good way to close out the album.
I made sure that I listened to it in its entirety, though, because for years I used to skip past it.
Because it's a slower version.
It totally is. And it's a different appreciation, though, now for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, like I said, unfortunately, it was the last full solid record that they put out until Special Sauce got back with G.
And do we know what the squabble was?
It had to
money.
do, if I'm not mistaken, from what I read, I think it had to do with money.
But they still toured together, though, because when I saw him in 2006, they were there with him.
They may have toured with him, but they never recorded with him.
Got it. Yeah.
And a lot of it had to do with royalties.
Okay.
And like, because I remember when they were coming back for their 20th anniversary tour for the first album, I think there was a Rolling Stone article or a Spin article about it, and they were talking about how, like, it was kind of like Veruca Salt.
Oh yeah.
Which, dude,
we got save shit, man.
So, but this one is, like I said, it was the last good solid album they put out, and it was 20 years later they came out and finally got their shit together, and they put out a new album together as G Love and Special Sauce for the first time.
I might give it a listen. I probably won't, though. I'll be completely honest with you. I probably won't. That's just I like to remember G as they were. That's kind of how I look at it. Yeah,
I mean, it's almost kind of like that episode of The Simpsons where Bachman Turner Overdrive comes to play in Springfield, and like they start playing some new song, and Homer's like, "No new stuff, just play the old stuff." And they start playing like "Working for a Living." He's like, "Just get to the working overtime part." Oh.
As Matt Groening sues us for that wonderful impression.
Oh. No. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those where I loved these guys so hard for so many years. Like it was almost 10 years.
But see, and we won't get into this time around because we'll need to close out soon. But it reminds me a little bit of The Cure and some of their later stuff too. Because
The Cure should have stopped after they did Wish.
I don't disagree. Although Wild Mood Swings has been growing on me again lately. Again, fodder for another time. But that's if I have to compare, that kind of a thing about albums getting worse or getting better, that's what it reminds me of.
Right on.
I think what I want to kind of let our listeners know too is we will not just be doing music. I think we touched on this briefly at the beginning, but we are going to do everything that your little pop culture heart desires on this show.
Yeah, we'll be hitting movies, TV shows.
Definitely TV shows, yeah. I'll make you watch Felicity if I have my way.
Pew. I shot first. Sorry, that was my bad. Ralph Garman does Harrison Ford impersonation.
It's actually pretty good, actually.
But,
the Holy Grail.
Christ. So we won't continue to do impressions, but
I make no promises.
This is true, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, I think, like I said, we're going to have some more guests for you guys. We're going to have a lot more cool shit in store for you. So make sure that you go to our Facebook page. It's
our Facebook page.
Facebook.com// whatever, Pop Goulash, GOULASH.
You can follow us on Twitter at Pop Goulash.
We might do an Instagram account. I don't know that we need it right now.
Nobody wants to see our ugly asses.
They might want to see some really cool fucking concert tickets, though.
This is true. I've got a plethora of those.
I do too. I still have my little box at home with that stuff. So.
And you can also email us at popgoulash42@gmail.com if you have any album suggestions for us to talk about,
or just
TV
to tell us how much you
shows
love
to
us.
talk about, movies to talk about, comic books. Like I said in our Zero issue, we're not going to read any books. We don't have enough time for that shit. We have lives. And not to say that there's anything wrong with books. I'm reading books right now, but in order to read a book for a podcast, we just don't.
Feels like school.
As Sweet Brown said, ain't nobody got time for that. Sorry, guys.
But thank you guys.
Thanks for putting up with our shit for the last hour. Yeah, we don't really have a sign off for this yet. We haven't really thought that far ahead. But next week, if our guest does not fall through because they are a pretty dope human being and a musical act as well,
yes.
Who is extremely busy all of the freaking time. And if they don't make it next week, we will definitely find. We'll
cry in a corner for like a day.
So
and then we'll figure it out.
Since this is the podcast, if our guest next week falls through, I challenge you, Dana, to listen to the California album by Mr. Bungle.
Oh, dude, that's like a great invitation.
So that will be your assignment.
But you need an assignment too then, my friend.
All right, what do we got?
Yeah, you're not getting out of this shit. Wow. What do I want you to listen to that you might not listen? You know what I want you to listen to? Fine-a-fucking-ly. You're going to listen to Rachel Yamagata, and you're going to listen to... Gosh, which album do I want you to listen to? I think I want you to listen...
And Rachel, if you're listening, because I know you know Dana, if I don't like the stuff that you that you make, please don't take it personally.
I'll just kick them hard in the ding-ding. But
I'm old, Billy.
I want you to listen to Elephant's Teeth Sinking into Heart. And that's what I want. So, anyway, guys, thank you so much for this week.
Thanks for listening.
We're going to molest your ears again soon.
Yeah, so thank you very much for joining us tonight or today or this afternoon, whenever you choose to listen to us. Just like goulash, it's a little bit of everything, but it's delicious.
Peace out, guys. Bye.